Yes, very well.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I would like, first of all, to thank to be invited in this event. My name is Ina Martinez, and I'm working in the Spanish Rural Network. And I hope all of you enjoy the presentation. So, these are the contents I will talk about. First of all, I will explain what is the Spanish National Rural Network. Secondly, I will talk about the Regional Antennas Programme, because for us it's a tool for approaching the rural areas. And finally, I will talk about the good practices collection and dissemination. First of all, I would like to explain what is the Spanish National Rural Network. It's a meeting point for the rural development stakeholders and for the rural areas in general. We are dependent on the Spanish Agriculture, Fishery and Food Department, and we are formed by an assembly. Currently, we are 157 members, and these members are different. For example, we have NGOs, we have cooperatives, we have Spanish public bodies, and there are only two requirements for becoming a member that are being a national entity and to be related to the rural areas. We are funded by the European Agricultural Fund for Rural Development, and I would just like to add that there is a national rural network in each country of the European Union, just in case someone is interested in catch up with his or her network. We are working on these areas, 6 of them. The first of them is the revitalization and entrepreneurship. The second one is the rural youth. The third one is the innovation. The fourth one is the environment and the climate change. The fifth one is the rural women, and the sixth one is the tea population. We are organizing several activities, like for example, seminars and webinars, and we usually invite projects of the rural areas to explain how they are contributing to the rural areas and what are the main challenges they have faced during these projects. We are also promoting working teams that basically are meetings where people with different backgrounds talk about a topic. For example, the last one we organized was about the rural youth in Spain. So for us, it's a really a great tool to know their opinions and what kind of activities could do in the future. We are also offering free courses of entrepreneurship focused in the rural areas, and we are also publishing and disseminating information and opportunities for of the rural areas in our social media, website, and so on. We prepare and we organize all these activities because our main objective is to make the potential beneficiaries aware of the opportunities that are in our rural areas in Spain. And we also try to support the regional and national rural development programs. So we have a weakness that was that we did not reach the local areas as much as we wanted, because we are a national organization. We are the support unit, and we are working in Madrid. So for us, it was so difficult to reach the local areas, because we also have in Spain 18 rural development programs. That means we have one rural development program per region and also a national one. So it was quite difficult to work on that in just in one place. So we studied how other countries were facing this weakness, and we find a solution that we call the Regional Antennas Programs, that we came out with it in November 2020, so it's still quite recent. Its principal aim is to bring the Spanish rural network close to the regions and close to the autonomous communities in Spain, and just close to the needs of the rural areas. So maybe some of you will be asking yourselves what is a regional antenna, because the concept, it may be strange. So the regional antennas are just 9 people who are working in the regions, and they are working close to these Spanish regions. because as I said, we are working in the Madrid office, so it was difficult for us to reach these local areas. So why are we developing this program? Because it makes it easier to carry out regional activities. It's easier to gather the information about the specific rural needs, and it's easier to collect the best practices and projects in that areas. And these are the contacts of these people who is working in the regions, just in case someone is interested in contacting them for whatever they need. So finally, I would like to talk about the good practices collection and dissemination. We call a good practice all these strategies, programs, projects, procedures, management, and implementation practices which achieve several characteristics, like the ones I'm showing in the screen. Our main criteria is that a good practice needs to have positive results, like, for example, have created jobs or maybe some environmental impacts that are good for the rural areas. We also take into account that the project needs to be consolidated. That means 4 or 5 years of existence or have been aware with prices and so on. And we also take really into account the transferability. That means that this good practice can be copied easily in another region or in another geographic area. And another key aspect that we take into account is that these projects have a long-term vision, that they improve the quality of life of the rural areas, and also the active role of its members and the people who is living in the rural areas. So we think these good practices are useful to inspire other people and also to learn about the strengths and the weaknesses of others and maybe which areas we should work more about, and also to create a network between the rural stakeholders who are trying to improve the quality of life of these rural areas. So how do we use this information in the Spanish Rural Network? We disseminate it through webinars, social media, newsletters, and we also make compilation about good practices that are free and you can download them in our website. And just to give an example of that, I would like to talk about a project which is called Museos Vivos in Spanish, and the translation will be Living Museums in Spain. And as you can see in the screen, this project is about rural museums of Castilla y León, which is a region of Spain that were closed after the economic crisis because of the lack of funds. And these projects offer a digital system that allows you to book a visit, get a code, and enter in the museum. And you also have an app that shows you the information about the visit. Those, like suppliers, only turn on when there is a visit, and this project makes it possible to visit these museums that otherwise will be completely closed. So in this case, how did we use this information to spread this good practice? First of all, we organize a leader meeting that is related with the rural development programs. And the important point about that is that we invite to this meeting local people who were working in the rural areas to share how the team of living museums made this project and how they developed it. We also made a report in our magazine and our pieces, some pieces of news, and we also proposed this project to the Rural Inspiration Award, that is a European competition for rural projects that are innovative and with solutions for shared problems of the rural areas. So why do we think that this is a good way to revitalize and to have a good perspective of the rural areas? Because through this dissemination, we make known the project. That means that other museums of other rural areas, not for that region, but from other ones of Spain, may join in the network, and maybe they can also copy this idea and open these museums that are now closed. And also because citizens and tourists may visit the museums because maybe they didn't know from before these projects. Also because we really think that it's important to link these rural areas with digitalization, innovation, and that it's a really good idea to give examples that are currently working in the territory and that they are developing good practices. So this was all from my side. You can keep in touch with us in our social media channels or our website if someone is interested in